If you made it to this point in the video, we're going to get real. We're going to tell you some of our stupid, ridiculous, lofty, naive goals, but I am so proud of having these goals because we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah. The biggest, most lofty goal is I'm really looking forward to actually seeing a single dollar from any of our content.
We have been reinvesting money. It's been Daniel Green, we're coming for you. We are the next booktubers. You're going down. Welcome back, everybody, to Tutor Ramble. If this is your first time here, my name is Austin. This is your other co-host.
My name's Richard.
Yes, and this is a unique episode. We have officially podcasted, YouTubed for 1 whole year. How's
Hooray!
That make you? Yeah, we did it, and we didn't just do it. We did it together.
Yeah, that probably made it harder.
Can you believe we're here?
I know, it's hard to believe it, but
yeah,
we did shake on it.
We shook hands firmly. We said we're going to do this for a year, so we're quitting after this video. It's our last one. We're out. We're out of here.
No, we shook again for another year.
We did. We did the firm handshake, looked each other dead in the eyes. So we have to. So this podcast episode, we are going to give 10 lessons that we learned. And from measly YouTubers, podcasters like us, we're not the biggest ones in the world, but hey, we've done it for a year. We're going to give something that could be helpful and maybe interesting to you guys.
A lot of this will be interesting for, I think, us a year from now.
Yeah, reflecting.
Basically, we'll be able to go back to this video and see, hey, how big of an idiots were we a year from then?
Exactly.
And so it'll be fun for us, but if you're just starting out, maybe we'll have some insight that larger YouTubers may not have because they're so far removed from the beginning steps.
Right.
And we're kind of in that low amount of views and subscribers, but we, passed some thresholds.
I don't know. Goal set in our minds. Would you say you're happy about where we are today? Because I'm not happy
until 1 million subscribers, but
I got to say I'm very impressed with that. We've kept doing it. I'm happy with a lot of it, and I want to get into some quick thank yous. I think that's essential. First off, first person to thank is you, Richard.
Oh, thanks.
I didn't mean it. No, seriously, we joke a lot on here, but thank you for sticking around for an entire year. I don't think there's anyone else I could have done this with, and I mean that because no one else has a level of tolerance. But seriously, it's like a brotherhood,
Oh,
I feel like we're on this journey, and it's just getting started. Da 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 da, music goes, but it really has been awesome.
It has been.
Yeah.
I'm also thankful that got a podcast partner that's willing to do all the editing and social media aspects that I don't enjoy. It's great.
I'm glad I have a partner that doesn't like to read comments, just like, whatever, it's fine, and then gets on the pod with all this good research. So you focus on the one end, and it's good. You're focused.
I read. That's what I bring to the podcast.
You do. You go heavy front load to where I'm trying to catch up to you. So,
hey, you're making progress because my job's got busier.
Hey, it happens. But yes, thank you. And also thank you to anyone that's been watching for years. If this is your first time here and you're just tuning in, thank you. Appreciate you as well.
If you've been watching since if you've seen some of our first couple videos, you've been around for about a year, let us know down in the comments below.
Yeah, please.
Definitely
please
gotta reach out to you guys and really thank you guys personally.
Definitely do. And thank you, especially we just opened a recent Patreon. Thank you to every single Patreon. I can't believe how well that's been doing and how fun that's been. So
I can't believe they're
awesome.
giving us money, and I think I get more value out of it personally.
Yeah, we should be paying them, but let's not give them any ideas.
No, can't do that. But I very much enjoy having an actual book club. That's so much fun for me. When a year ago, when I would read a book, I really didn't have anyone to talk to about the book. And no one else has read the book. I could maybe go on Reddit, but that's not the same. Having a group of people to actually talk about a book with has been so much fun and makes the whole process for reading more enjoyable and also more motivating.
Seriously,
to finish a book.
Absolutely has. And thank you. I mean, hey, parents as well. Thank you, parents support. All of our friends who are friends in real life. Most of them don't support us, but you know what? thank you anyways.
Dom and Holden, thanks for watching.
Seriously, some supportive friends. That's been awesome. But thank yous out of the way. Do you want to thank anyone?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. This whole pod's going to revolve around, we're going to give 10 lessons that we personally learned that could be valuable if you're interested in what a year of podcasting YouTube has brought. And after that, we're going to talk a little bit about how we got started with this whole podcast, what our biggest highlights and our lowest lows were, and then also looking forward to the next year and what our ridiculous goals are, because we have some ridiculous goals.
We have some reasonable goals, but we have far more ridiculous goals.
Absolutely do, and that's going to be, people are going to laugh at us when they hear those.
Hey, they're more fun.
They are.
Why do something if you don't have ridiculous goals to aim for?
That's what I'm saying. See, that's why we work together well. See that? But first, let's go over the 10 big lessons that we've learned throughout this journey. Yeah. And the very first of those, what would you say?
I mean, the first lesson is honestly the most obvious, but also the most important, is to just try. If you're interested in doing videos on YouTube, if you're still in the planning stage and you go, oh, well, maybe I'm going to do it this way, but before I upload my first video, I have to get this done. No. Whatever you got on hand, whatever you can afford, just do it. It doesn't even have to be good, because your first video is certainly not going to get a lot of views. But it's a process, so you just have to start. Getting the ball rolling is probably the hardest part, where a lot of people plan on doing something. Very few people actually act on it.
And Mr. Beast has that same advice where, hey, your first 10 videos even, make sure they're going to get 0 views probably. Nothing. Yeah. And the only thing that's going to get you views is your content will improve by you actually recording and actually learning to do what you're doing when you're in the studio or doing anything at all. So there's 0 learning curve if you're just planning and thinking about doing it, because then you'll wear out and you'll never actually do it. So what we did, we literally, we'll get more into our origin story after the lessons, but basically we just bought equipment, sat down, said, click the record button, and our first podcast episode was a mess.
It was awful.
It was a mess. And somehow some people like it, and I think those are, I mean, by some people,
our friends that
watch. So it really wasn't any random person, but it's just, you do it. Mm-hmm. That's a great first lesson. And second lesson being, if you want to go into that.
Sure. The struggle between discipline and passion. Mm-hmm. If you have passion for a topic, it makes the discipline easier and you don't need as much of it. So do YouTube about something you enjoy, but in combination with that, even stuff you enjoy, there's going to be times where you're going to have to just be disciplined, and it comes in waves. So you may think that you could talk endlessly about comic books, but there'll come a point where you have to have discipline and keep the content going. So it's something important. So don't just do it when you have motivation for it. Keep going even during the dry spells.
Right. Because some people, even when you're making a YouTube channel, the only thing isn't just you sit here and talk, right? There's a lot behind it of maybe you don't like editing. Maybe you don't like the whole thumbnail creation. Maybe you don't like interacting on social media. Maybe you don't like recording, but you like the other aspects of that. You're not going to like everything that you're doing 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah, certainly. There's plenty of videos where maybe in the moment I didn't enjoy a certain aspect. But by the time it was finished, edited, and uploaded, I was like, I'm really glad I did that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great lesson. I'd say lesson number 3 is don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. There have been so many YouTubers, so many podcasters before us. We are not the first to do this. So all these lessons you're hearing from us, which, by the way, why are you listening to our lessons in the first place? We are so small. But
in many ways, I think it's very ironic. Hey, yeah, these guys with like 4,000 subscribers. Let's see what they have to say. About it.
They are the Aristotle of YouTube, of course.
Though, to be fair, I think a lot of this video is for us in the future.
It is.
It'll be interesting to look back on.
For sure. And hopefully it's interesting because a lot of, you can look up, Mr. Beast has a lot of advice for YouTubers. And you have these big people that have made it, have the advice that made them get to that point. This is a year out. We're not the biggest, but we're not super small. We're small, but not super small. So it's a neat perspective. to maybe weave in. And that's something that we did learn is don't reinvent the wheel. There are people that have preceded us. There are people to look back on and try to emulate and take what they did that's good and make it work and try to rearrange it and look at what they do and then basically copy it, but
put your own unique spin on it.
Put a spin on it. Yeah. And that works because we're not making a new phone. We're not making a product. We're doing something that's unique to us, but a spin on plenty of other things. So, and lesson number 4.
More content. Content is king.
Content is king. Yes.
With YouTube and internet in general, you have to look at ideas as a kind of ROI, so your return on investment. If your video idea takes you about a month to do, and that's research, editing, what have you, but the video is only like a 5-minute video, or the video doesn't, it's okay, but it's not amazing, you're going to have a hard time growing because you're not going to be able to compete with someone who's able to create content on a daily basis that's very high quality or equal quality to yours. So you can either do insane quality or insane numbers. And if you don't have the experience for high quality, go for numbers.
Especially starting off, right?
Certainly.
We made a channel like this, and we're not going to invest months to make one video because no one's going to see that one video. So you can get to a certain level, I'm sure, down the line and put a lot of work into a video, and it'll do really well because you have the traction, you have the audience, and it's going to explode. But whereas when you're starting off, I think it's more important to lean on content, which we've been mixed on. We spent a lot of time on some videos, maybe more time than we needed to. And we have to find the delicate balance of being able to produce enough that makes people happy, but also is high enough quality to make people happy. So, and it's a tough balance, but the lesson for ourselves is we need to focus more on content because we have, for the past year, and only recently changed it up to where we're now doing multiple videos, shorter form, not just podcast. So we're doing one podcast per week. And you'd be surprised at how little content it is in the bigger scheme of things. It's maybe, I don't know if it seems like a lot to some people, but one a week isn't a lot relative to what everybody else is doing. Yeah. So that's what we've had to step up recently and have to continue to do.
Yes. One of the side caveats for that is if you're doing something that requires like news, so news channels, they can do it daily, like a daily upload, multiple videos a day. Pretty easy, but their content is really dated. A week out from then,
not relevant.
Not relevant. Why would you click on a news article that's a month old, 2 months old, versus a book review that'll be relevant? People are going to read that book for years to come, right, and eventually come across it. So if you treat it like how we're treating it, it's more like an asset instead of a done in a week fling.
Right, that's true.
The larger our library becomes, it's a larger asset that we are building.
Yeah, we're building an archive of content, essentially, that people can. That's a great perspective to have. Yeah, and then the next big lesson would be not just us talking here, but the idea behind what we're talking about. So the idea, the thumbnail, the title. It all starts with an idea. You have to have a good idea for an episode, and this one probably sucks.
It seems like a duh moment, but we went for so long just thought too simple-mindedly about, let's review this book, let's review this movie. Yeah. And it was just, that was all it is. I think it was maybe our Black Adam video that we tried recording just a Black Adam review, and we realized, like, man, this movie sucks. We're not enjoying doing this review. What would be a good idea? And it just the simple, like, the 3 worst things about five terrible things about Black Adam. Much better video idea.
It doesn't,
So, that's something to really think about is the idea of the video, not just the content.
Right, because people are going to be more interested in something like, Mr. Beast counting to 100,000? No way. That's how Mr. Beast got so huge. His idea, he didn't have money to start off with. He just had grand ideas, and then what comes with that is a thumbnail you'll click on and a great title you'll click on. So it seems simple, right? But just like a book, you're not going to read a book that you don't like. If you don't like the first chapter, if you don't like the cover and the blurb, why would I read that book?
Yeah.
Like I'm not interested in the short blurb it said. I'm not. It's basically a clickbait. Hey, do you like the book cover? Do you like you're reading the blurb, the title essentially, and like trust it. And then hey, am I gonna read that book? Hey, should I watch this video? Super simple, but it's really something that we didn't think about naturally. You think about, we didn't pinpoint it and then try to attack that initially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been absolutely essential. And as far as the then ideas go behind that, the videos we actually make leads into the next lesson, which would be trends.
That was something really had to fight against often. It is a constant struggle on being able to make videos that interest me and just stuff I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Versus stuff that is trendy and things that are going on right now that I'm maybe not particularly interested in. And you can't just do the trends because I have a very hard time faking my passion for something. So it's finding a way to put your own passionate twist on something that's trending.
Absolutely.
And figuring out what about this am I interested in. And so blending those two and something that you enjoy versus something that's also trending at the time is very key.
Yeah, and the whole trend aspect, just obviously as creators, you want more people to view your content. So how do you talk about what you want to talk about while also doing something that's salient and that people would be like, oh yeah, this is going on. That interests me. And one great example was we covered Rings of Power.
Yeah.
So when Rings of Power was a show, we started watching it and did not like it. But Rings of Power was still a thing and other people enjoyed it, so we thought to put a twist on it. What's something we could do that follows the trend but also something we're passionate about? And that's where the idea of you read the Silmarillion.
Yep.
And so we had a video where we compared the Silmarillion to Rings of Power, and it covered the trend, but at the same time talked about something that you were super passionate about, and that worked.
Yeah, it's just something we're not passionate about and wouldn't be fun to watch. It's kind of like with the Last of Us TV show. Just kind of stopped because who needs reactions of people who don't like the show?
Yeah, we just weren't into it, so we stopped doing it.
Yeah.
So that's been huge. What would you say the next big lesson is?
Next one is more personal to our style, which wouldn't be applicable to everyone, but we found what works best for us is having a loose but structured dialogue for our podcast. We've tried doing really heavily scripted, or where we plan out every moment and we plan out the whole conversation in too much detail. And we've also tried it where we have no plan going in. There's no structure at all. Both of those don't work for us. So what's best for us is doing our prep work and having our notes and really thinking through our points. And we don't tell each other specifically what our points are, but we come together on the overall structure of the conversation. Hey, let's talk about this part first. Hey, let's talk about this next. And that way, then we generally go over stuff so that we don't step on each other's toes. So if we both have the same point to make, I don't make the point early in the conversation. That way I snub him at the very end. So it's kind of interesting, I guess, if you're interested in the making of the content. But that's kind of how we structure it. So we try and keep our points secret from each other.
I mean, just like this video, it's structured that we said, hey, here's how we're going to structure it. We'll have 10 lessons we go over. Then we're going to talk about next topic. And we have bullet points of topics. So we're going to talk about that's why when you see me looking at my laptop or him looking at this page, we just have, hey, 10 lessons, boom. Then how we got started, talk about that. Then talk about reflection. And we just go, boom, it's simple bullet point topic. And then we talk from there, so that we know how to structure the conversation. It's not, I know we're called to ramble. We ramble in a confined, specified way.
That's the thing about art.
Yeah.
Art is
interpretive.
Art is creativity within the bounds of reality.
Yeah.
That's good art. That's why modern art sucks. Is because it's creativity. It's boundless creativity. Boundless creativity sucks. It's awful. Boundless creativity is freeform jazz. We are not freeform jazz. We're regular jazz.
You know what you just did right there? The next lesson of articulation. You articulated yourself very well there. Those are good moments.
I try.
And that's the next lesson we've had to learn, is just talking and how to get across your points and how to talk in a way that you don't use ums or buts or likes. and pauses are fine, and just some tactics with speaking in general that keeps it so that we're on our toes, and we're not perfect at it, of course.
Yeah.
We have lots to improve with, but I look at our videos from our first episodes to now, and you could tell marginal improvements over time of we're learning to, this isn't really public speaking, I would say, just to a camera and to you, but to speak in long form discussion, which is a helpful tool, and I hope we get better at it.
It definitely helps with active listening in a conversation. Typically, if you're just talking with friends, you generally just talk and while someone else is talking, you're thinking about your next point to make.
Yep.
And yeah, that's kind of how just everyone talks, but it doesn't lead to a very interesting conversation to listen to, or even to your friend. It's honestly more disrespectful, because then your friend doesn't feel like they're being heard. Where the benefit of having our notes is I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say next. I'm listening to you, what you're saying. That way I can actually properly respond. And all my thinking about what I'm going to say next is left to my notes because I've already prepared it ahead of time.
I missed a lot of that. Can you go over that again? Absolutely. No, that's absolutely true. It's a lot more listening, and so we're bouncing off of each other. Having two people here, a lot of podcasts have 3 or 4, so we have to tackle less, but some podcasts have one person. They just interview someone else. So
actually, that was a tip I remember in mock trial in high school.
What's that?
Is that kind of active listening. So many students, they had all their stuff prepped and they're ready to go, and they're they're cross-examining a witness and they're trying to get through all their points, and they're so focused on what they're going to say next and their plan that the witness will say something and the witness messes up bad, that if they were listening, they could hammer and jump on him and just tear him to shreds. And that was a lesson I had to learn, is I had to get away from my sheet, and I deliberately got less notes for my mock trial, just for the fact of I need to be listening and pause every time they're saying and process what they said first, then next question.
Right. So
because sometimes they would say something and you go, "Oh, I got you, man."
So you're interrogating me during this podcast? Is that what's been going on? You're just looking for me to slip up and going, "That's it. I'm going to get him now."
Oh, yeah. All the time.
That's horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. What's the next lesson, Rishi?
Well, to that point, the small little lesson, the easy tip is when you record yourself, watch it back, even though it sucks.
Absolutely.
That way you can critically analyze how you talk.
Oh, actually, a bonus point on this lesson of articulation is hearing yourself talk has been the weirdest thing to get used to. When we started a year ago, editing these videos and looking over them, everyone hates the sound of their own voice. That's why I still can't believe sometimes people listen to my voice. They listen to your voice, because everyone in their head goes, "I don't have a good voice," except Morgan Freeman. That he doesn't have that thought whatsoever. But it took some months, but it's now to a weird point where I'll listen to videos, I'll listen to it and not hate it.
Yeah.
And the same for you as well. It just took time, but for the first couple months, it was rough.
I think the reason behind it, and comment down below if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. The reason why it's always awkward to hear your own voice played back for you is because when you talk, the inside of your ear canal, actually the bone vibrates to your own voice. So you're not just listening through your ear canal through the hole in your ear. Because of the vibrations in your throat and mouth, it goes to the bone. So you're actually listening through your bone. And so your voice is always a combination of vibration and also sound. Versus when you're listening to other people, it's only through the sound waves.
Yeah.
And so when you're listening to yourself on a recording, it's only through the sound waves. So you're missing something that you're always used to. So when you hear yourself recorded, you're hearing something that is slightly off from how you normally hear yourself talk. And so that dissonance is annoying.
I believe everything you said. That seems scientifically correct. I like that a lot, because there has to be some reason that everybody has that same problem.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar effect when you see something that is close to right, but it's really off.
Yeah.
So like Toy Story, the Toy Story baby is freakish, not because it's cartoon, but it's like too close to reality, but it's clearly not, and it bothers people.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so that's when you're doing a scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. It's bothersome because you're missing something that should be there. So when you hear your own voice back, you're hearing something that it's missing.
Damn, I just got a big lesson there. That was great information. Holy crap. So yeah, articulation and hearing yourself talk, I think, goes hand in hand. But awesome lesson. So then, what is lesson number 9, Richard?
Consistency.
The consistency train.
Oh God, how many times did you just want to like skip a week? It's like, oh God, this next video is just not. We don't have anything planned.
No.
Oh, we can't do Why don't we just do Tuesday?
Honestly, this video we're making right now is not the best idea we've ever had. It's, again, with consistency of we think it'll be cool to reflect on, hopefully bring some value, because we're trying to balance all the time between doing things we want, doing things people want to hear, and maybe this one's a miss. But we have to stay consistent with it, get content out that we think is mixing between quality, going to back to the other lessons, quality and also quantity, and mixing the two. So we have to stay consistent with that quantity, but get as creative as we can. And sometimes the content's going to suck. We've had misses in the past, which when we get into after the lessons, we'll talk about what we regret, but not regret, but what our worst parts were of our podcast and the best parts and all that. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be plenty of that. Yeah. And it's not going to change. There's going to be videos that we don't want to do. And going back to the discipline versus passion part of sometimes you just got to trug along so that in the long scheme of things, it's so worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so consistency is key. And we've got the last creme de la creme of lessons. Lesson number 10 is
sometimes you should let comments get to you, but you ultimately have control over it. Taking a little lesson from the Stoicism, meditations book, I realized for myself that a comment, if a comment is getting to you and it emotionally affects you, you should analyze the why. If you put a statement out there in the world and you're getting a bunch of negative comments about it, sometimes it doesn't affect you, because I know for me, if I'm confident about my opinion, who cares if someone else disagrees? I'm fairly confident in what I think. If I'm not so confident in what I think, other people's opinions mean something. They have a point, and it affects me. So whenever a comment really affects me, it's a moment for self-reflection and analyzing it. Why? Is it affecting me irrationally? Right. Is it something wrong with me where I'm insecure about something? Are they right? They could be right, but ultimately you should get to that nice point of, hey, it doesn't affect me because I know that I believe I'm right. They believe they're right. Doesn't matter.
It's an opinion, right? Yeah. The big pull from this as well, a lot of content creators that are way bigger than us have this problem of if you get to a certain point, you're going to get a lot of hate, a lot of negativity. And YouTube, you guys are great. Spotify, all that.
TikTok.
The most hate we get is definitely TikTok. We have a much larger following there. And I get some of our takes. Hey, we've got hot takes. We definitely do. So we'll get a lot more hate comments there. And I mean, this is less of a problem for us because there are people that get swarmed by this. And it gets to people mentally. And people can get depressed from comments. And so you have to be prepared going into this business, I guess you could say, that you're prepared for that. And the important takeaway, everything you said, very true. An important takeaway is comments that if they affect you emotionally to the point of you're getting depressed and you're getting genuinely upset, just remember it still is a random person on the internet. Take the opinions of friends and family you know in real life and know your actual character, because online there's going to be clips, and even in a podcast episode where we try to articulate ourselves, it's still just an hour of time, and they won't know your entire personhood. So I see a lot of people that let random comments get to them, and they make it, oh, is that who I am? And just the important takeaway is trust if a lot of your friends and your family start saying, hey, you've been acting a little weird lately, and you've been kind of an asshole lately. should go like, oh, maybe I've been being an asshole, right? And so take those precedents over a random comment. But then to your point as well, if some comments are affecting you about what your opinion was, maybe you should reflect and be like, hey, maybe they have a point. But it comes down to look at it from like a stoic perspective, I guess.
Well, that's ultimately you should analyze what affects you.
Yeah.
So if a comment is affecting you, they could be right, or it's something wrong with you where you have an insecurity and you shouldn't be letting it. But really think about it. Why is this affecting me?
Right.
And if it takes time and real self-reflection, but hopefully down the rabbit, you follow that rabbit down the rabbit hole, you figure out that, oh, I was irrationally thinking about it. This got to me because of X, and I was insecure about this other reason.
Yep.
And this shouldn't affect me. And that helps me.
Absolutely. And I think, again, we're small enough to where maybe not a problem for us. It hasn't affected us incredibly thus far. Yeah. Maybe it will, because we don't have that spotlight. Yeah. And so far we don't have the problems that bigger creators have, but it's something we got to be aware of going forward. And so as soon as we do blow up and get to that 100K mark by next year, we got to be prepared, Richard. Got that armor. So, all right, that's the 10 lessons we had.
And if you stuck around this far, we're actually going to go into kind of the origin story of the podcast and how we got started. So if you're interested,
if you're this far, I'd imagine you're the real ones. You want to get into the nitty gritty of where did this all start and what's been our favorite parts and whatnot of this whole journey. And that our origin story is it's a bit interesting.
We've been trying to do stuff together in general for a while. We're considering doing a trash pickup business,
a literal dumpster business,
and renting out like dumpsters for different businesses. Then we went on to our best idea that we did not implement. And
the title of the company?
Oh yeah, the title of the company is the best.
3, 2, 1. Impossibly good.
Where we would sell fresh pasta.
Fresh pasta sold here. We were going to go to markets and farmers markets and sell. We bought a machine to make pasta.
To be fair, that machine we've gotten our money's worth. It's a great machine.
We still use the machine. It's a great machine.
A good machine.
But we had this idea of just being doing something business-wise to grow. We always had that. But the cherry on top for this podcast was, hey, we had a lot of late-night conversations that went on hours, and as friends do. But, I mean, we get ridiculous talking about morality and this and that. But one thing we really share that we can always talk about as well are stories. Movies, books, and it's something that we just talked a lot about. We went, wait, why don't we just do that?
If Joe Rogan can do it, why not us?
Logan Paul can do it. Come on, why not us, right? So we went for it, and I think we did a firm handshake. Yeah, very firm handshake, and we said, listen,
for 3 months, I think.
3 months we said for 3 months. It could be a complete failure. We get 0 views constantly. We'll agree to this again. But 3 months, we produce content. And we went out to the store the next day. And from lesson number 1 in the pod, we said, just try. So we went and bought the equipment, went back here, and recorded a terrible video. We just did it, and we just tried it. And by the time we got to the couple-month mark, we were like, all right, we started to get a groove.
Yeah.
And 3 months came. We said, you know what? Let's shake for a year. And now we're a year in.
Yeah, and then... how many months ago was it we shook for another year?
Yep, just a month and a half ago. At the new year, when 2023 came, we said, you know what? Another year.
One more year.
One more year. So we've committed to it. It's too late now. But we really want to do this like forever, ultimately. But it's just setting goals and where we want to be, and it's important to do that. But we always had this idea of creating something together, and I think we finally nailed it.
Yeah, it's something that's... we have such lofty goals for it as well. And, why do something if you don't have some real lofty, kind of ridiculous goals?
Yeah. Well, what would you say, though, reflecting on this past year, what would you say the highest highs and the lowest lows of Tutor Ramble has been?
The highest high is definitely the Sigils interview.
Episode 25.
Episode 25. We put so much work and research into finding everything we could about Sigils. Like we internet stalked him. If it's on the internet, we know about it.
There were comments in the interview that were like, "Oh, I can't believe they didn't mention this." Listen, we knew. We just didn't say. We didn't have his time. We didn't have all of his time. But
we had so much notes.
For those that don't know, Sigils is a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers who wrote a book. He's a super nice guy. We consider him our friend. He considers us his acquaintance. But he's a super nice guy, and that was awesome to actually interview someone on the podcast.
Oh yeah. And also being able to check out, we were able to actually see his next copy of his book for the second book, and being able to work with him and be a beta reader has been so much fun.
So much. So that's been a huge accomplishment, I'd say, the past year of podcasting. And an additional one on that, the Patreon we opened. I can't believe how many cool people have joined, except one of you. One of you really sucks.
We're not going to tell you who that is, but one of you. You know who you are.
You do know who you are. It's Richard. He's in the Discord. So don't worry, guys. But that has been awesome because it's been a lot of fun, and it's still growing and expanding. That's been a huge accomplishment. And I'd say also my favorite episodes that we've done, besides the interview, have been the deep dives. If anyone's familiar, we've done a Brandon Sanderson author deep dive, a J.R.R. Tolkien author deep dive, where those take a lot of effort to put together, where we we have to read all their books essentially, which, and I mean, if not all, most of them.
Or between the two of us, we have to cover. So like
all the books.
Thankfully, I was able to. I've read the other books by Sanderson, and you read Stormlight, and so together we kind of had a complete picture of his works.
Exactly, and so we cover an author. We talk about their whole life, their works, and it's more of an informational thing. That's cool. It's there forever. Anyone can look if they want to. We can go back and look at it and just go, hey, we deeply know this author, and it's just more educational. That's been a lot of fun. And in the future, I know we want to do more deep dives and director deep dives, which we'll get into. Yeah. But reflecting, that's been some of our highs. What would you say some of our lows have been?
Oh, Lord. Our worst episode was when we were talking about emotional impact, the score. So it was an entire episode of us just talking about stuff we liked.
It was like, Richard, I like this.
Oh God, I hated it.
I liked this so much. Too.
It was member berries.
It was
the episode.
so bad. But it's up there.
It's there. We're not taking it down.
It's for us to look back at it and see how far we've come.
Yeah.
And it's not that far.
No, it is not.
There's that, as long as we've had other just flops as well. But there's been some tough parts. I guess this could be a lesson for ourselves in the future too. But there are portions of times with our channel where it's flat. You plateau. Just like when you go to the gym, if you do anything, you'll be getting more in shape. Your diet's on point. Your videos are doing good, but then it starts plateauing a bit. You're getting the same views, and at a certain point, does it become a numbers game? You don't want to become too obsessive with the numbers, but then again, the business is revolved around that. So there's balancing that in your mind and not letting that get to you of, oh man, we worked even harder on this video, but it didn't get as much as this. One big mistake in the past, what do you call those? Video essays.
Yeah. I put so much work into that meditations video essay. I took notes on every single chapter. Yeah. I was really thinking about it, analyzing, looking at what other people thought about it, and then writing out the whole script, which is several pages of scripting. And it was rough.
We had two of them. We had two of these big video essays, which takes a lot to edit, but even more to research. And so all the research you put behind it, all the reading the book, particular note taking, and no joke, put easily a month of work into something like that. And it did like worse than most of our stuff did. Yeah. And so you have to make sure when that releases and then it doesn't do well, not let that affect you and go, okay, now we need to re-strategize. Yeah. Re-strategize our content, change things up. So it's all about constantly being a chameleon with things. And if it didn't work, there's a reason. It's a big thing of not to blame the viewers or the audience of, oh, they didn't click on it. No, it's to look at yourself and go, all right, I didn't have a good enough idea, good enough thumbnail, good enough topic. It wasn't engaging enough. You have to take agency over it is the biggest takeaway.
The lesson from Marcus Aurelius is you take you are ultimately responsible for everything.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you aren't, doesn't matter.
Lightning strikes you. Shouldn't have been there. Car hits you. They were drunk. Sorry, you shouldn't have been out at midnight.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's taking not going to the extreme of like lightning, but it's a good lesson to take of, if you blame and you're angry at someone else, no, you're not going to improve at all ever if that's how you go about things. And we seriously messed up with that. I mean, obviously we did something wrong with the video essays, and our videos that don't do well, we're doing something wrong. So we're gonna keep adapting, and we're gonna get this thing right eventually. The next year when we do this year in review, it's gonna be marvelous.
I've seen way too many people that have such success on YouTube. I'm like, if they could do it, why not us?
and it's looking in the other tough thing too is do you compare yourself to others? Because
certainly.
Of course, like when not to bring up working out, but it's just a good analogy to use. But you're trying to get muscles and whatnot, and then you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, you go, well, I'm weak.
Comparing yourself to others is inevitable.
It is.
But the good ratio, you should be comparing yourself to your past self more often than you compare yourself to others.
Right.
But I think both are good. Like, it's important to look at someone who is very fit from the gym and go, oh, I want shoulders like that. Yeah. I want abs like that, and work toward it. What do they do? And, oh, well, this is the kind of exercise they're doing for that. These are the muscles they're focusing on. So comparing yourself to others that is important to set a goal for yourself.
It's natural. It's human.
Yeah. But if that's all you're focusing on and you're not focusing on how you were last week,
you'll never work then, because you're not going to be Arnold next week. We're not going to be Mr. Beast ever, actually. We'll never be Mr. Beast.
Yeah, we did.
It's unobtainable.
We do have ourselves a glass ceiling when we decided, let's
Daniel Green, we're coming for you. We are the next booktubers. You're going down. We want to collab, though. So.
I am so glad that we fixed the peaking on these microphones. Lesson number 11.
Daniel Green is ours.
Properly adjust the microphone levels in your recording.
We learned that as well.
We learned that.
We learned that. But I know we're going back into lessons, but seriously, that's also essential to, you're going to compare yourself to others, but compare your channel to what you're doing yesterday, the month before. And if it's lowering, if it's plateauing, change it up. Yeah. Do something different. And that's one of our big mess ups is the video essays, and we've had some just bad topics, bad ideas. Hopefully we will get better, right? And in this next year, looking ahead, what are our goals? What are you looking forward to, Richard? Let's get real with everybody. If you made it to this point in the video, we're going to get real. We're going to tell you some of our stupid, ridiculous, lofty, naive goals, but I am so proud of having these goals because we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah. The biggest, most lofty goal is I'm really looking forward to actually seeing a single dollar from any of our content.
We have been reinvesting money. It's so we that's a good goal. But what are your more pragmatic? Our big goals that we have? We have, I'd say, 3 major goals with this channel.
Yeah,
and one.
Yeah, some of them will be done
goals
within a year, and others, it's minimum 5 years down the line.
I'm not even mentioning we have small goals like having some merch that'll be fun, and people can relate to, like stuff like that. And another small goal of having cool classes we could create. We'll get more proficient over time. Maybe we can't. We're not at that level, but like how to from the ground up make a podcast work, just a technical side of things and whatnot. Maybe we'll figure stuff out.
Shots, like how do you what's the software you use? Camera, how do you set that up with lighting?
Yeah, and when we get bigger and more credible, we'll probably do that. Right now, we're probably don't have all the expertise, so we'll get there. But those are some smaller goals. But our 3 big goals for this channel, one being we want to compete with Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. We want to create Richard's working on a Rambler rating website that uses our rating system to compete and be a rating website for books and movies.
Because if you're a reader, if you're on this channel, I'm betting you are. If you read a lot, everyone knows that Goodreads sucks. It's an awful website. Amazon doesn't care to actually maintain it. Authors hate it because of the practices that they do and actually putting up authors' works before the author approves it. There's a lot of scams. There's a lot of just misinformation on it. It's terrible. And so I think there's a spot for us to actually just do that job better. And I think our rating system actually gives a better insight into whether you'll like a movie or not.
Yeah, having the 5 categories. And look in the description below on YouTube, and you can see how the rating system works.
Yeah.
Because we explain it sometimes, but I don't want to,
Yeah, don't want to rehash it.
I don't want to rehash it.
But the challenge for us is to build a custom website like what we have in mind either requires money or expertise and time. We don't have the money. I don't have tens of thousands of dollars to actually put into this type of website.
Our biggest asset is a guy who can't even grow hair. It's like that's what we're relying on right now.
So on top of everything, full-time job, reading the books, podcasting, like trying to get my fitness under control and much better. Also, I'm trying to learn how to code so I can actually build this stupid website.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's been a significant challenge.
And that's just lofty goal number 1.
Yeah.
Lofty goal number 2 is, again, these are lofty. These are ridiculous goals, but they are seriously what we're aiming for, and we're going to aim for them until we die, which is making a publishing company. Like Tutor Ramble, expanding that into publishing and starting with indie authors and seeing where we can go with that. And that's going to be probably even harder than the website to do.
You would think.
A
website's a website. Publishing is that's a business at that point.
That's why I think it's a higher goal.
That's not coming till like year 5.
Year 5 will maybe. So that's a big goal. And the third goal, which is actually why I should have mentioned this in the origin story as well. But the biggest reason for the podcast on my end as well, there's 2 big reasons. The second biggest for me is growing a business, doing this with you, and it's great to have this form of content, and I just love doing it. Talking about stories, like why not? And there's so much good around it. And just building the business is the second primary thing. But for me, the first is I want to one day publish, and this is a goal for yours, but my number 1 goal in life is to publish a book. And whether it's self-published or published, and not just one book, several, and do fantasy. That's my dream. And so covering things that are fantasy helps me do that. Reading fantasy helps me do that. And having an audience would help me if I eventually publish the book and share it with people.
And so, in addition to that, kind of our plan when we thought about it is, hey, if we're doing a podcast about books and movies, we'll be interviewing people, interviewing authors, talking to publishers just to get their books. So by the time that we actually have our own book to publish, we'll have a network of people to talk to, and it'll make our own book that much more successful.
And give us a foot in the door, because obviously every author wants to share their story with the world. That's the whole point of writing a book, or else you just write it and keep it in your pocket the whole time. So it's that's our 3 humongous goals, but we're a year in, and you know what? We accomplished one of those goals. We did a handshake. We recorded for a year. We kept consistent. And I can't believe it's
didn't miss a week.
We didn't miss a week, but I can't believe it's ending here.
Yep, we did a year. That's all.
I didn't tell you, but all those goals we talked about, I'm cheating on you with one of our roommates.
You're going back to Impossibly Good.
Listen, I'm taking the pasta business and I'm changing the name. I couldn't think of anything creative. It's just too good of a name. There's nothing better than Impossibly Good.
Pasta name.
Impossibly Good. Okay, I got to make sure I really have to make sure we bought the domain, because one of these people, one of you viewers, better not steal it. It's such a good name. It's a pun. It's pasta.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. I think it's a good note we end this podcast on pasta.
All right.
Do you think that's relevant?
We ramble. It's in the title of our channel. So
as we said, we structure this loosely. So
alrighty. Well, I guess we'll talk to you guys all later, and we'll see you guys next week.
Oh, a little snippet before we close. The next 2 videos or so should be some interviews are coming.
Some great author interviews.
Interviews are coming. We have big plans for this next year. We're excited. All right.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.